Hello children. As you know, we have been doing direct to indirect speech. First four rules और उसकी बहुत सारी exercises हम already कर चुके हैं. Lots of sentences we have done. तो अभी मैं these are very easy. There are 3 or 4 more rules which I am going to explain. First one, which is rule number 5, words expressing nearness in time or place are generally changed into words expressing distance. So which means what? कि अगर अभी की बात हो रही है तो जब हम indirect में करते हैं तो हम तब की बात करेंगे, तो अब को हम तब बना देंगे. So I have given here a few examples of what we are talking about. Indirect speech, if we are saying now, then in the indirect speech we'll say then. If in the direct speech we are saying today, then in the indirect speech we'll say that day. If in the direct speech we are saying here, in the indirect speech we'll say there. If in the direct speech we say tomorrow, in the indirect speech we'll say the next day. If in the direct speech we are saying ago, then in the indirect speech we'll say before. In the direct speech, yesterday gets converted to the day before. Okay? Thus gets converted to so, and last night gets converted to the night before. The rest of the rules जो पहले हमने 4 rules किए, they'll remain the same. Okay? So if the reporting verb is in past tense, then automatically if the actual words are in simple present, they'll get converted to simple past. If they are in present continuous, they'll get converted to past continuous, and so on. But now I'll show you an example of this rule number 5. Okay? But there's one more small thing. If the reporting verb, these words remain the same. Otherwise, like the past tense changes, these also change. So the first few rules which we had done. Okay? But if the reporting verb is in the past tense. Now, for example, he says, I am glad to be here this morning. So he said, I think I've written something wrong there. Let me see. But let me first show you this example. So he said, I am glad to be here this evening. So he said that I am glad. So am will get converted to was glad to be. Instead of this, we'll say that evening. Okay? So I think I've made a mistake in the reporting. If the reporting verb, these words, is in the present tense, then these will remain the same. Okay? कुछ मैंने गलत लिखा था वहाँ पे. Otherwise, like the past tense changes, these also change. Okay? So he said that he was glad to be there. There लिखना भूल गई मैं. There that evening. Here will get converted to there, and this will get converted to that. Now when we are talking about says, he says, I am glad to be here this evening. In this case, what will happen? He says that he is glad to be here this evening. Okay? So everything will remain the same because the reporting verb is in present tense, says. I hope it is understood. Attempt all the rest of the sentences for this rule. Okay? All of you have to do it. I'll be checking it in the next class. Then the next rule is in interrogative sentences. Interrogative sentences, I hope you understand, those are question sentences. The indirect speech is introduced by words like asked, inquired, etc. Okay? So if you don't use these words, then the reporting verb is followed by whether. So I'll do an example show you an example with both the cases, in both the cases. Like, for example, the first sentence, he said to me, what are you doing? So we can change it to change this into indirect speech by saying, he asked me. So because it is a question, we have used the word asked instead of said. He asked me, and then what are you doing will get converted to what. Now because the question is being asked, the same rule. He said to me, you. So he asked me what. So because he's asking me, so what will I do? He asked me what I, are will get converted to was doing. And this becomes the indirect sentence. Now instead of asked, if we simply use he said to me, now we have not used any inquiring word. Okay, we are not inquiring, we are not using asked or inquire. So we'll say he said to me. If we have not used that word, then we'll use the word whether. Okay, so instead of that, like in normal sentences we were using, we'll say he said to me whether, and then the same rules like we used to do earlier. He asked me whether. No. In this case, whether won't work because he's asking what I was doing. He asked me what I was doing will remain the same. Whether will not work here. So I'll just put a cross here. Okay, we cannot use this option in this particular sentence. Let me see if I have any sentence in which we use whether. Okay, I'll show you where you are going also. Whether you are going won't work. Will you listen to this fourth sentence? I'll explain how we. So one way of writing it would be he asked me. Now will you listen to such a man will get converted to if, because I have said he asked me. If I will get converted to would listen to such a man. Now the same sentence can also be written with whether, because now we are asking for an opinion. So in any question where we are asking for somebody to give an opinion, there we can use whether. So here we say he asked me, he said to me. Now we have not used any inquiring word. He said to me whether. Instead of that, I say whether, and then whether. If does not, you don't use if in this case. If is used when we have a question starting with will, okay? But if we are not using, because that is covered by the word whether. He said to me whether I would listen to, the rest remains the same, such a man. Okay, so the rest of the sentences please attempt and send me your work. Next rule is commands and requests are expressed by verbs expressing them. So verbs expressing them means commands. So somebody can order, you can request, you can command, whatever. So basically the sentence should tell us that it was a request, or it was a command, or it was an order by somebody. For example, Rama said to Arjun, go away. Okay, now this could be a request also, it could also be an order. Okay, so depending upon, had it an exclamation mark afterwards, I would have said ordered Arjun to go away. But in this case, we'll just say Rama requested Arjun, and what will happen? To go away. To go away. Bas. Try the others. If you have any difficulty, in the next class, we'll anyway be doing more sentences and we'll revise whatever you have done. Then the last rule is on exclamations and wishes. So again, if we see exclamatory sentences, then depending upon the sentence, we use an appropriate word like exclaimed, wished, applauded, begged, etc. Say for example, he said, I am undone. Alas, I am undone. So alas means he's exclaiming. So he exclaimed. Alas will go off now. That he exclaimed. He, and then this other rules follow, the first four which we had done. He was undone. Okay. In some places we could say applauded, or for example, okay, and then the same rule will apply. He said here, because it's a reporting verb, that's why we have changed the tense from am to was. He was undone. If it was the reporting verb was in present tense, it would remain the same. What would happen? Alas, he is undone. Alas nahi bolenge. He exclaimed that he is undone, because in case of if the reporting verb is says, okay, if it is in the present tense. Now, Alice said, how clever I am. Okay, so again, you could use the word exclaimed here. So help me heaven, he cried, I will never steal again. Again, here you could probably wish, or you could beg, because you are now saying that I will never steal again. So you could use the word begged here. Okay. Fifth sentence, maybe you could use the word applauded. Okay. Then bravo, you have done well. Okay. Here also you could use applauded or encouraged or something, some word which shows the meaning of the sentence. And that's about it. I want you all to attempt all these exercises, the rest of the sentences in the exercises, and submit it, and we shall discuss them in the next class.